log into VOM, you click on the Licenses tab, you'll see the deployment summary information. And this has a breakdown of the different types of licenses and deployments, keyless deployments, unique licenses that are in the environment, different licenses that might be expired, as well as those that need verification, meaning perhaps a license that's not a site license that's actually deployed across multiple hosts. It also gives you a breakdown by the different product families here with an overlay of the total number as well as those that are actually expired. And also a summary by platform, so breakdown by the major OS platforms that we support for Storage Foundation, VCS, and the related products, as well as a summary by the different editions of Basic, Standard, Enterprise, and also by release version. So you can see a breakdown by the major versions that are out there. This is useful for a number of things. Also a host deployment summary. So from a host perspective, I'll be able to understand the total number of hosts that are reporting into this, how many are virtual, those that actually have keyless licensing, as well as those that have expired licenses. So in order to really kind of understand what's going on here, you need to get into some of the details. So we break down this information in addition to the summary view and all of these links that are you can drill down from. There's these major tabs across the top. So I'm able to click on a product inventory to see the different types of products that are out there and the number of hosts that they're deployed on, as well as the number of licenses. A product to tier mapping, as well as a tier to host mapping. And this will kind of give you a breakdown of the different license tiers. Going back to the summary page, I want to actually get a little bit more into some of the details. So we have a few different interesting views from here. I can actually look at the license view. So I click on the 219 unique licenses. Now normally there would actually be a license key displayed here. I've hidden it for this display purpose. You can actually access that from this little icon up here. It'll pop up a window and actually let you, this will be shown by default, but I've hidden it. It'll show you a list of license keys, the different product information, the type of license that it is, some additional information about the number of hosts that it's actually deployed on, as well as the features contained within that particular license. We're also able to look at a host perspective. So I can see the list of the hosts in the environment, see the platform information, the actual processor information, number of processors, the tier information, as well as the number of licenses that are deployed out on that particular host. So as you can do in other views in VOM, you can actually search for a particular host. So I just type in the name of the host, and the view will scope. So if I'm only interested in a certain set of hosts, I can just type in the name of the host, or maybe the naming convention of the hosts to get a more limited view. I can also scope all of these views by business entity. And so a business entity in VOM is a logical grouping of hosts or service groups, clusters, different types of configurations. And it can also be used to scope out the licenses associated with a particular application or set of applications. So one of the other neat features of the license report is this product evidence. So for a particular host, I can click on product evidence. It'll pull up a window. It'll give me a list of the different products that are out installed on the host, some of the enabled features. It also tracks when features are used. So you can see when different features are actually being used, when they were last used, number of types of objects. So you can see that you're actually getting use out of a particular feature or set of features of the product. I can also get to the license host mapping information. Really what this does, it takes the licenses and the hosts, puts them together, and lets you see where a particular license is deployed. And again, some of the associated information with that. And I like the other views. I can search down to that. I can scope it or filter it by different types of information or criteria. Another interesting thing of note here. This report is really meant to enable the keyless option of licensing for Storage Foundation and VCS. And what keyless will let you do is, instead of having all these license keys deployed all over the place, it'll let you simply enable keyless And the qualification for that is that that host must be reporting into a VOM server. So once that host is reporting into a VOM server, you can enable whatever level of features you want. It'll show up in here as a keyless license. So again, I can scope down to see which hosts have keyless options already configured in here. I can see the type of product. I can see the associated host for that product, and all that information that I showed you with the license host mapping view. And I also be able to see that this is actually a keyless license. So an important thing of note here, we don't turn off the capability. So say, for example, you enable keyless but don't report into VOM. It's going to give you nagware messages, so messages that say you're not in compliance. It won't shut off the feature. If for some reason the VOM server is not available for an extended period of time, again, you'll get warnings saying that you need to be reporting into the VOM server. But we won't actually shut down that. So it's important to note for production machines. This really is meant to, we're going to trust you to that you want to be in compliance, and we'll show you where or what you're actually using, and allow you to be accountable for what you're using in the environment. So VOM is needed for keyless. You must have it. The host must be configured with the agent deployed, reporting into VOM for keyless to be fully functional. Now, in addition to these basic reports that I showed you that kind of slice and dice the license information in a variety of ways, there's a few additional reports in the product as well. Go ahead and click on reports, and like other views, it can also be scoped. We'll type in license. A couple additional license reports that are in here. License lifecycle, this will give you the different licenses, keys as they come into the environment, as they leave the environment, so you can kind of track when a host has been provisioned or decommissioned. Additionally, the underutilized license report. This will show you licenses that effectively you're not using all the features for. So if you want to make sure you're getting an optimal use out of your purchase, you can run this to see if there's any underutilized licenses in the environment. Under licenses, you can also look at the deployment policy. And what this is it lets you create a policy, or effectively a rule, for a particular type of license. So maybe you've purchased a certain number of licenses of a particular variety. You can basically set that up here with different thresholds so that you can be notified when you've exceeded that threshold. So let me cancel out of this. I've already created one for Linux Storage Foundation for a cluster file system. I can see here this is an enterprise license. I have basically set up thresholds at a lower threshold of 8 and a fault threshold of 9. So when I reach 8, I'm going to get a risk or basically a fault condition. It'll show up on the dashboard. It'll show up in the fault mechanism of VOM, so that I can be notified that I'm getting close to exceeding what I'm entitled to use. I can also set up a fault threshold that'll actually trigger that next level up. So instead of a risk condition, it'll be a fault condition when I've actually exceeded that. So we can see right now I'm at a risk condition. So when you go into the monitor tab, you'll actually see an associated condition there that I can be notified via email or SNMP that I'm nearing what I'm entitled to use. So that's a quick summary of the features that are available in licensing. Now I want to talk a little bit about keeping up to date with VOM, and we're going to go back to the reports tab for that. So I want to look at a few things that this tells you about. It tells you about, I'm going to scope this again, it tells you about the SF product version that's deployed. So like other reports in VOM, I can scope this to run on a particular business entity or set of hosts or applications, or I can run it for everything. We can go ahead and run that for everything. And what this will tell me is a breakdown by host of the different platform information, OS version. Then you get the information of, okay, what's the volume manager version, patch information, the different patches that are actually deployed, the FS version, patch information, as well as patch IDs that are deployed, as well as VCS and VOM related details for patches as well. So this will give you kind of a view of across the entire configuration, what's deployed, so you can see that things are consistent or up to date. So another interesting report is called the patch report. I'll click run. Again, like the other view, I'll click entire domain to run it for everything. And what this report does is it actually will go out to Sort, our online service, and discover all of the latest patches and hotfixes that are available from Symantec. And it will download that information to your volume management server and then correlate those details with what's actually deployed in your environment. So we can see on each host a particular platform, and we can tell which particular patches and hotfixes, maintenance packs, are related or relevant to that particular host. Also in here is information I'm being able to click to download that patch or get additional details about what it may contain. So this is actually a link into Sort that'll tell me more information about what that patch is all about.